let me start by acknowledging the Turrbal and the Yagra as the First Nations owners of the lands where QUT now stands, and pay our respects to their elders, laws, customs, and creation spirits, and recognize that these lands have always been places of teaching, research, and innovation. Folks, this particular project has 5 key objectives, and that's captured in this diagram here. We would note quite evidently that most average Australians are unaware that we actually have rice varieties that are native to Australia, and that these have been utilized by our Indigenous communities for hundreds, if not thousands of years. And there's a lot of work that we still need to do. And hence, in this particular project, we'll be looking at a collection of wild varieties, investigating the agronomy, looking at what are the best practices that we could actually encourage its growth, scale up this into cultivated trials and work with communities to do that, and also understand the nutritional value associated with these. It's no surprise that these are highly pigmented rice, and again, no surprise that it delivers and has the potential to deliver some really significant health benefits. And then a lot of the rice used by our Indigenous communities have been dehusked manually. How can we actually mechanize this? And how can we assist communities to be able to scale this up? And that's captured in this particular project. So the research team, as you shall see here, this particular project is led by our colleagues at Charles Darwin University. We also have research activities and partners at the Northern Territory, Department of Industry, Trade and Tourism, and we are here at QUT down in Brisbane. So the photograph here actually captures Penny Worm as well as Sean Velez, who are the CIs of this project out of CDU. And this is Tony Assis from NT, DITT. The person that's missing out of the NT team is Alan Niscioli. This is Lynette Kenyon. She's the individual, the matriarch from the particle community. And this is the QUT team, Brett Williams, Milan Wong, and myself. The industry partners are the original and authentic Aboriginal cultural tours of Darwin, which is Particle and Olive Ale Pastoral, based out of Laura in far north Queensland. We do have an international partner, the Myera Group, which is based out of Winnipeg in Manitoba. And many of you might be wondering, what is the Myera Group based out of Manitoba to do with rice? There's actually native species of rice to Manitoba that the Myera Group has actually taken to various levels, and part of which is to also develop products from these. And Bruce Hardy, the CEO, who is a First Nations Canadian, has a huge interest in how they could assist and work with us in helping to deliver outcomes to our communities. Okay. So as part of this project, we are really quite fortunate in that we have permission to actually have access to abundant wild stands of rice. And this is native rice. And these photographs are taken on the outskirts of Darwin in the Lemunga-Wilna country, which is really part of the Adelaide River floodplain of the Northern Territory. Now, many of you are familiar with this agroecological zone, know that between April and May each year, the levels of the water start to drop because it's the end of the wet season. And this gives us as researchers the opportunity to go out and collect and understand and sense, what are the diversity of rice species that are out there. Now, the CDU team has had 5 airborne trips into this region already, collecting samples and allowing us to be able to ensure that these seeds could then be utilized in this project. We have then, because of to obtain a better understanding of the agronomy, we have brought these and put them into shade house, these are shade houses that are found at Charles Darwin University and as well as NTDITT. This is a glasshouse here at QUT. So what we are looking at here basically is doing yield trials just to ensure that we can understand what are the yields from the different varieties. At our end here at QUT, we are really looking at how do we break dormancy. And this is particularly in Oryza australiensis. And as you could see there, Milan Wong is actually busy in the glasshouse assessing the plants. However, as I highlighted earlier on, I feel the golden nugget in all of these projects is the nutritional value that's actually being delivered by these rice varieties. And as part of our nutritional analysis, we are using some of the latest technology and platforms that we have here at QUT to basically look at the protein content, amino acid profile. So what is the quantity of resistant starch, fiber, macro and micronutrients? And we are doing this for the species that are native to Australia, which is Oryza australiensis, Oryza meridionalis, Oryza rufogum. And in addition to this, Mayera has actually sent us samples of rice that are native to Canada, all milled up and ready for the analysis. And we have been able to show and see some very interesting nutritional profile. But as you know, that rice also produce husks, which is basically very rich in silica. And we are looking at some really innovative opportunities on value addition to the silica-rich biomass as such. The Mayera group is because the First Nations communities in Canada have already been growing this, their native rice at various scales, and these have been harvested. It's already available in a number of supermarkets across Canada. The Mayera group has got a wealth of experience of working with partners, and in this particular case, Ermat, which is based in Thailand, to actually produce products such as rice cake, and how this could potentially be a much broader initiative looking at rice that originates in Australia that could also deliver similar products based on market needs. And this is the contribution that we see that Mayera is actually making to our wild rice varieties here in Australia. Now, there is a PhD student as part of this project. Her name is Jihan Al-Belogani, and she's based, unfortunately, because of COVID-19, is unable to enter Australia yet, but we're expecting that she will attend and arrive around January 2022. But it hasn't stopped her from actually contributing towards a PhD. She has already finished her confirmation. She has already submitted a review manuscript for publication and is currently working on another. So we hope that when she arrives here in January, she will be able to hit the ground running. And this is part of our capacity building, which the CRC is very committed to. Okay, so this is my penultimate slide, which is really to acknowledge the significant contribution from the range of partners. You would see Tony Matchett identified here as well. Tony is the CEO of Savannah Ag, and it's based up in far north Queensland. He works closely with Olivale, and we are looking at setting up the field trial with the Indigenous community just on the outskirts of Laura, and we hope to do this in January 2022.